Very good evening to all the NEET aspirants. This is your Prasanna Ma'am from NEET World. So yes, we are in our second session of plant kingdom. In our first session, what all we have learnt with Abdul? What all we have learnt in our first session of plant kingdom? We have finished with systems of classification, 3 systems of classification, artificial system of classification, natural system of classification and phylogenetic system of classification. And then we have looked upon branches of taxonomy, wherein we have exercised numerical taxonomy, that is phonetics, cytotaxonomy and chemotaxonomy, right. And then we have looked into algae, right. So, the first division under plant kingdom is done, right ma. So, today we will be looking into bryophytes and pteridophytes. After that, we will be exercising all the NEET previous year questions targeting algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes. Very important segments. We have got multi-statement based questionnaire in the very recent NEET paper 2025 from bryophytes and pteridophytes. Okay, multi-statement questions. So, it is a very important chapter to students, just focus on. Okay. So, let us begin with bryophytes. Bryophytes are usually termed as what? Primitive land plants, because they are first originated land plants, okay, and they are said to be amphibians of plant kingdom. What does this term means, amphibians of plant kingdom? Means they live on the land, okay, but then for the mode of fertilization, antherozoids are released into the water. Water is required for the mode of fertilization. Antherozoids will swim across the water and they will reach the archegonium. So, for the process of fertilization, water is required. So, that is why it is called as what beta? Amphibians of plant kingdom. And these are the first archegoniate, that is the first female reproductive structure, that is archegonium, is observed in bryophytes. These are the first embryophytes. First embryo formation happened in bryophytes. And these are first atracheophytic cryptogams. These are what? Atracheophytic means these are non-vascular cryptogams. There are no vascular bundles. Okay. That is why they occur in what type of habitats ma? Moist shaded areas, in damp humid areas which are close to the water localities. Okay. These are the non-vascular terrestrial cryptogams, and this is the habitat of bryophytes. Usual habit. Bryophytes does not have root, stem and leaf structures, but then bryophytes will have roots like, leaf like, stem like structures. Root like we will call it as what beta? Rhizoids. Okay. Rhizoids can be unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. Unicellular you will observe in liverworts. Multicellular rhizoids you can observe it in mosses. Okay. Unicellular rhizoids in liverworts, multicellular rhizoids in mosses, and leaf like, phylloids, stem like colloids. The brief intro about bryophytes is clear na? You have to remember all the synonyms: primitive land plants, amphibians of plant kingdom, they are non-vascular terrestrial cryptogams, and they are first archegoniate, embryophytic, atracheophytic cryptogams. Clear, right ma? Next. The plant body, main plant body of bryophyte is gametophytic plant body beta. Okay, it has what plant body? Gametophytic plant body, which means gametophytic, the one which bears gametes, and gametophytic plant body is haploid, which means root like, stem like, leaf like structures, all these are haploid. You have to remember the ploidy for sure. Okay. So, the main plant body is haploid, haplontic plant body. Haploid plant body, that is gametophyte. Gametophyte is haploid plant body. This is the main plant body, and but the gametophyte is well differentiated than algae. Okay, bryophytic plant body is well differentiated than algae, but it is not that advanced as pteridophytes. Okay, and the main plant body, it produces what? Gametes. Gametophyte means which bears gametes. These are present in the male sex organs and female sex organs. If you have to remember the general characteristics of algae, it does not have jacketed sex organs. Okay, algae does not have jacketed sex organs. But here in bryophytes you can see multicellular jacketed sex organs, both male and female. In male here you see antheridium. Antheridium has what? A jacket over it, and inside which you have androcytes. Androcytes, haploid androcytes, and androcytes undergoes mitosis producing what? Antherozoids. Antherozoids are biflagellated through zooidogamous oogamy, means they will swim across the water and they will reach the archegonium. Archegonium is also multilayered, jacketed, okay. It has a neck, and below the neck you can see neck canal cells, below which you can see venter canal cells, and at the bottom you can see oosphere. Oosphere is also called as what beta? Egg. Okay. This biflagellate antherozoids will swim all across the water and it will reach what? Oosphere or egg, which is present in the archegonium. Three main points to remember from this slide. One is the main plant body is gametophytic plant body. Gametophytic plant body is haploid and it has both male and female sex organs. They are jacketed. Male sex organ is called as what? Antheridium. It has a jacket over it, okay, inside which it has androcytes. It undergoes mitosis and it will produce biflagellated antherozoids. This biflagellated antherozoids will undergo zooidogamous oogamy, okay, which swims across the water, and then it reaches to the archegonium. Archegonium is also jacketed. It has a neck, neck canal cells, venter canal cells, and at the bottom you can see oosphere or egg. Oosphere or egg is one and the same. Okay, this antherozoid will reach out the egg. Both are haploid. Remember, antherozoid is haploid, egg is also haploid. Clear right till here? Any doubt anywhere, Vita? Yeah, next. So, the site of fertilization. Antherozoid is reaching where? Archegonium to fertilize with the egg. So, what is the location of fertilization or site of fertilization? Archegonium is the location or the site of fertilization. And the product of fertilization is what, beta? Zygote. Zygote is the product of fertilization which forms or which matures to embryo. Zygote matures to embryo by the process of mitosis. So, here haploid antherozoid and haploid egg cell or oosphere will fuse to form a diploid zygote. Diploid zygote will undergo mitotic divisions and develop into diploid embryo. So, first embryo formation you have observed in Bryophytes, and this will mature into a well developed sporophyte, diploid sporophyte, well developed diploid sporophyte. Clear right? Any doubt anywhere till here? Gametophytic phase is clear, no? Now we will look into the sporophytic phase. Sporophytic phase is diploid. So, sporophyte is attached to the gametophyte. From gametophyte you can see male and female sex organs, okay, male gametophyte, female gametophyte. So, from the gametophyte only sporophyte will originate after the zygote formation. Zygote formation occurs in the gametophytic body. Zygote, diploid zygote matures to embryo. Embryo will develop into sporophyte. So, sporophyte here in Bryophytes is nutritionally dependent on the gametophyte. Okay, sporophyte is dependent on what? Gametophyte for nutrition. This is attached to photosynthetic gametophyte for nourishment. Okay. So, inside the sporophyte you can see spore mother cells are present. Spore mother cells are what? Diploid, because sporophyte is diploid. Diploid sporophyte will contain what, beta? Diploid spore mother cells. This diploid spore mother cells will undergo reductional division or meiosis and they will form haploid spores. All the spores are alike. So, you will call it as what condition? Homosporous condition. Okay. So, spore mother cells which are diploid will undergo reductional division or meiosis, produces 4 haploid spores. From one spore mother cell, how many spores you will get? 4 haploid spores. There is a small question because you will get some connectivity questions over here connecting cell cycle and cell division. Okay. Amongst this, which is the meiocyte and which is meiospore? Meiocyte and meiospore. Online students, even you can answer, ma. Hi Bharat, good evening. Continue with the class, ma. Meiocyte and meiospore. What is meiocyte and what is meiospore? Meiocyte is the cell which is going to undergo meiosis. Remember that. The parental cell which is going to undergo meiosis is called as what? Meiocyte. Okay. So, here what is the meiocyte? Spore mother cell is meiocyte. And what is meiospore? Spores which are formed at the end after meiosis are called as what? Meiospores. So, meiocyte is always diploid, meiospores are haploid. Remember that, because you will get some connectivity questions from cell division. Okay. From a spore mother cell or a meiocyte, how many spores are formed? Like from 12 spore mother cells, how many meiospores are formed? As such, you may get questions. So, you have to be clear on the terms. Okay. Yeah. So, here spore mother cell, after reduction division, they will form what? Spores. All spores are alike. This is what condition? Homosporous condition. This homosporous condition, spores landing onto the suitable substratum, they will first develop into a primary gametophytic structure called as protonema. Till spore formation, you are clear with the story, right? These spores landing onto the suitable substrata, they will develop into what? Protonema. Protonema is nothing but the primary gametophytic structure of bryophytes. Primary gametophytic structure of bryophytes. Okay. And this protonema will develop, will further develop into the leafy gametophytic structure. This happens in mosses. Whereas in liverworts, the spores landing onto the suitable substratum, they will develop into a thalloid gametophyte. Clear now beta? You have two sets, one is liverworts and mosses under bryophytes. Haploid spores landing onto the suitable substrata. In liverworts though, they will develop into what? Thalloid gametophyte. In mosses though, they will develop into what? Protonema, which is the primary gametophytic structure. Clear right till here? Yeah. Next, here we go. What are the three different classes of bryophytes? We have three classes under bryophytes. One is Hepaticopsida. Under Hepaticopsida, best example is liverworts. Second is Anthoceratopsida. Example under it we can learn as hornworts. Third is what? Bryopsida. Those are liverworts. So, the introduction, mosses, sorry. So, the introduction of bryophytes, gametophytic phase, sporophytic phase, and how spores are developed into both in liverworts and mosses, you are clear with. And classification of bryophytes is also clear, right. So, now we will look into each one, that liverworts and hornworts and mosses. First, liverworts you look into beta. Yeah, liverworts habitat includes moist and shady places like banks of stream, marshy ground, damp soil, bark of trees and deep in woods. These will be the basic habitats of liverworts. And the habit is plant body is thalloid plant body for liverworts. For example, Marchantia. Best example is Marchantia. And thallus, here you see, thallus is dorsiventral thallus. This dorsiventral thallus is closely appressed to the substratum. Okay, the thallus is what? Closely appressed to the substratum, and the thallus is dichotomously branched. Okay, thallus is what? Dichotomously branched. Here you can see the thallus of Marchantia. This is dorsiventral, okay, dichotomously branched, closely appressed to the substratum. And here you see second example under liverworts we can learn, that is Porella. Okay, the leafy members have tiny leaf-like appendages on two rows on the stem-like structures. So, here you can see tiny leaf-like appendages on two rows of the above what? On the stem-like appendages. Okay, leaf-like appendages you can see on the stem-like structures. So, these two we will learn under what? Liverworts. What are the best examples under liverworts? Porella and Marchantia. And in Marchantia, the peculiar structures you have to learn is gymma and gymma cups. Okay, this aid in vegetative reproduction. Of course, you are very clear with the term of fragmentation. We have learnt it many times. Okay, second mode of vegetative reproduction in liverworts is by gymma. How can you describe gymma? These are green multicellular asexual buds. Okay, gymma are green multicellular asexual buds. They develop on the small receptacles called as gymma cups. Okay, gymma develop on the small receptacles called gymma cups. The mature gymma will detach from the parental body and they germinate into the new individual. Okay, clear on the description of gymma and how they are developed from small gymma cups, and gyma will develop into, they germinate and develop into a new individuals. Sexual reproduction. So, sexual reproduction, before learning about the sexual reproduction in liverworts, you have to be clear on the terms of homothallic and heterothallic. If both the male and female reproductive structures are on the same thallus, okay, both male and female reproductive structures are on the same thallus, that is called as homothallic condition. It is also known as monoecious condition, homothallic or monoecious condition. Example is what? Ricea. Second is what? Heterothallic or dioecious condition, where female and male reproductive structures are on the different thallus. Example is Marchantia. Ricea and Marchantia is clear, no? Now, Marchantia, male reproductive structure bearing this is called as what? Antheridiophore, and here antherozoids are dispersed through elaters. Elaters are the mediators where antherozoids are dispersed from the antheridiophore. Okay, and from archegoniophore, inside archegoniophore what is present? Egg is present, and site of fertilization is archegonia, where diploid zygote is formed. Diploid zygote will mature to diploid embryo that will develop into a diploid sporophyte. Clear till here? Any doubt anywhere, Vita? Yeah. Now hornworts, okay, under Anthoceratopsida. Till here it is clear to you now, everything is clear now. Here you see hornworts, these are thalloid consisting of rhizoids. Thalloid structures, they consist of rhizoids. They have elongated horn like sporophytes, that is why they are called as what? Hornworts. And the sporophyte here in hornworts is differentiated into sporophyte, which is the diploid structure which originates from the gametophyte. See, sporophyte is originating from the gametophyte. And this sporophyte is differentiated into capsule, intercalary meristematic zone and foot. So, it has foot, intercalary meristematic zone and capsule. Okay. All these are diploid structures only, yes or no, because they are components of sporophyte. And from capsule, in capsule spore mother cells will be present. They will undergo reductional division or meiosis and they will release haploid spores through pseudo-elaters. Previously you have learnt in Marchantia, for the release of antherozoids what are acting as supporting agents? Elaters. Here it is pseudo-elaters in hornworts. Clear, right? Everything is clear till here? Yeah. Next is what ma? Mosses. Okay. Mosses have, in mosses, gametophyte has two stages. One is juvenile stage, second is adult leafy gametophytic stage. This juvenile stage is also called as primary gametophytic phase. Primary gametophytic phase. Primary gametophytic phase over here is what? Protonema, and adult leafy stage is what? Gametophore. Okay. How can you describe protonema as? So, the description of gyma might be, protonema here might be, prothallus of pteridophytes might be. You have to make a clear note of this, because on this clear sentences or statements you will get the direct questions. Okay. So, protonema is described as what ma? Creeping, green, branched, frequently filamentous stage. Okay. Creeping, green, branched and frequently filamentous stage. And this develops directly from what? Spores. This develops directly from spores. And protonema will be mature to leafy gametophyte stage by budding, okay, by lateral budding, okay, by lateral budding. Primary gametophytic structure will mature to leafy gametophytic structure, and the leafy stage you can describe it as mature leafy gametophytic structure as upright slender axis which bears the spirally arranged leaves. Okay. So, here you can see rhizoids, main axis and leaf like structures. These are the components of what? Gametophyte. Gametophyte is haploid. So, all these are haploid. Rhizoids, main axis and leaves, completely they are what? Haploid. And apex, the apex of the leaves will bear what? Sex organs like antheridia and archegonia. Till here it is clear, no ma? Any doubt anywhere? Yeah. So, here multicellular uniseriate filamentous sterile hair-like structures are present on the gametophyte. They are called as what? Paraphysis. What are paraphysis? The hair-like structures which are present on the gametophyte. And as we have discussed, sporophyte will arise from the gametophyte. Here zygote is formed inside the archegonia, zygote matures to embryo, embryo will mature to the sporophyte. And here in mosses, you will see three components in the sporophyte. One is foot, second is seta, and third is capsule. All these are what? Diploid. Okay. So, here the sporophyte in mosses is more elaborate than that of liverworts. Capsule here will contain what? Spore mother cells. Capsule has what? Spore mother cells. Spore mother cells are diploid here in the capsule. They undergo reductional division or meiosis, produce 4 haploid spores. So, here you tell me what is the meiocyte and meiospore? Meiocyte is spore mother cell which is in the capsule. Meiospores are spores. Good. These spores are dispersed through what? Peristomic teeth. Elaters in Marchantia, pseudo-elaters in hod moths, peristomic teeth in mosses. Remember that, important bit. So, here peristomic teeth will be helping for spore dispersal. These spores are haploid. Spores landing onto the suitable substratum, they will develop into new leafy gametophyte or new protonema. Understood? So, the best examples under mosses includes Funaria, which is cod moss, Sphagnum, peat moss, Polytrichum, haircup moss. So, here this is the image of Funaria which is given in your NCERT. So, gametophytic structures over here, leaves are haploid, main axis haploid, antherozoids haploid. From here the sporophyte gets originated. This is diploid, foot, seta, capsule, everything is diploid. Clear till here? Okay. And examples are also fine, right? Yeah. Economic importance of bryophytes. Okay. So, what is the economic importance of bryophytes? Just a second. Yeah. Economic importance of bryophytes. Mosses will play important role in plant succession and prevention of soil erosion. Okay. They play important role in plant succession and they will prevent soil erosion. Sphagnum can be addressed as peat moss, bog moss or cotton moss. First, peat moss. Peat moss is used as good manure and fuel, and cotton moss is dry. Why you can address sphagnum as cotton moss is this absorbs water well. Okay, it has good water absorption capacity. So, sphagnum can be used for the transshipment of commercially important plants. Okay, that is the main use of sphagnum. That is why it is called as what? Cotton moss. Dry sphagnum is used for the transportation of seedlings and cut plants, especially commercial important plants. Next is bog moss. It can start life. They can originate in crevices, rock crevices, and they will fill ponds and lakes easily. They will start succession easily. So, that is why it is called as what? Bog moss. Important synonyms many at times on the economic importance of sphagnum, you got the question. Okay. So, it is important. Clear? No, this is addressed as bog moss, not primitive form. This has 3 synonyms. Sphagnum can be addressed as peat moss because of this reason. Sphagnum can be addressed as cotton moss because it is used for transshipment of cut plants. It is addressed as bog moss because it builds up the soil in the rock crevices and it will fill ponds and lakes easily because it will start the plant succession easily. Okay?
Depending on the location. Right?
Yes, on ponds and lakes. Because what is the habitat of bryophytes? Humid places, damp places. Okay. So, now let us recall the complete life cycle of bryophytes. Okay. So, here if you see, first we will start with the gametophytic stage only beta. So, haploid spores landing onto the suitable substratum, they will develop into a haploid protonema. Remember, each stage very important. Previously, just in the NEET 2025 recent paper, you got a multi-statement question on the stages of the life cycle of bryophytes and pteridophytes. Both same questions in same paper. That important it is. So, listen with conscious. First spores landing onto the suitable substratum develop into haploid protonema, which is the primary gametophytic structure. This develops into the mature leafy gametophytic structure, which is haploid. They will bear both antheridia and archegonia, both male sex organs and female sex organs, which are jacketed. Antheridia will release out what? Antherozoids. Antherozoids are also called as sperm cells, haploid sperm cells, right? And they will reach out what? Egg cell or oosphere, which is haploid again. Okay, and after fertilization, the site of fertilization is inside archegonia. After fertilization, diploid zygote is formed. Diploid zygote matures to diploid embryo. Diploid embryo will mature to diploid sporophyte. So, what are the components of sporophyte? This is the structure of funaria. In funaria, what are the components of sporophyte? Capsule, seta, foot. Foot, seta, capsule. These are the components of the sporophyte. In the capsule, you can see spore mother cells. Spore mother cells are diploid. They will undergo what meiosis? Sporic meiosis. Remember, in the capsule region, what type of meiosis happens? Sporic meiosis. Okay, sporic meiosis. The diploid spore mother cells will release out what? Haploid spores are released. And this haploid spores germinate into the protonema. I will give you 1 minute time, go through the life cycle clearly into each and every stage, fix it in your mind. If you are having any doubt, you ask me. Then we will move to pteridophytes. Online students, even you can ask me, ma'am. Done? Is it done, ma? Yeah. Next is pteridophytes. Pteridophytes can be addressed as first terrestrial plants to possess vascular tissues. Non-vascular cryptogams are bryophytes, but these are the first terrestrial vascular cryptogams which has tracheates in it. So, you can say first tracheophytes. Okay, they are addressed as tracheophytes because they possess tracheates, okay, as their xylem components, and they are embryophytic, archegoniate, but not first embryophytic and first archegoniate, because first archegoniate, first embryophytic are what? Bryophytes. Tracheophytic because they possess tracheates and they are seedless vascular cryptogams. So, they are what? Non-spermatophytes. They come under non-spermatophytes. Habitat, if you see, cool, damp, shady places and sandy, soily conditions. Main plant body or the dominant phase is what? Sporophyte. Sporophyte is the main plant body or the dominant plant body. Here, sporophyte is independent of the gametophyte. Till bryophyte, you can see in bryophyte that sporophyte is dependent on the gametophyte for nourishment. But here, sporophyte is independent of gametophyte. Remember, gametophyte is also independent of sporophyte. Okay, both gametophyte and sporophyte are independent to each other in pteridophytes. This includes club mosses, horsetails and ferns. Fine, clear with the basic intro of pteridophytes? Next, the main plant body, sporophyte, is differentiated into root, stem and leaves. Okay, roots are adventitious in origin. They will originate from any part of the plant body, and leaves, if you see, two sets of leaves are present. Smaller leaves are known as what? Microphylls. Best example is Selaginella. Large leaves are addressed as what? Macrophylls. Example is ferns. Okay. So, it has root, stem and leaf. Stem's internal anatomy, stem internal anatomy will show both epidermis and cortex, and stele is also seen. Okay. Stele which contains vascular bundles. Okay. But then stele is what? Primitive stele, that is protostele. Primitive stele, protostele is present, okay, where at the center you can see phloem and at the center you can see xylem, which is surrounding, phloem is surrounding the xylem, okay. This is the primitive form of stele seen in pteridophytes. So, you are clear with the roots which are adventitious in origin, stem has stele, epidermis and cortex, and leaves have microsporophylls and microphyllous condition, macrophyllous condition. Leaves and leaflets will have sporangia over it, okay. Where are sporangia present here in pteridophytes? Leaves and leaflets. So, that is why they are called as what? Sporophytes. Development of sporangia on leaflets, based on the development of sporangia on the leaflets, they can be leptosporangiate or eusporangiate. Leptosporangiate means single cell is developed into sporangium, okay. Eusporangiate means group of cells will develop into sporangium. Single cell develops into sporangium, group of cells will develop into sporangium. Leptosporangiate and eusporangiate condition, important, remember. Next, sporangia, here if you see spore mother cells, they will undergo inside the sporophylls, spore mother cells are formed, right. Sporangia includes spore mother cells. Spore mother cells are diploid. They will undergo sporic meiosis and forms haploid spores, okay. In bryophytes you can see only homosporous condition, single type of spores, but here you can see heterosporous condition. This heterosporous condition is an important step in the evolution, okay, major point under pteridophytes, okay. Heterosporous condition is important step for evolution. Heterosporous means it produces two types of spores, microspores and megaspores. Microspores landing onto the suitable substratum will develop into male gametophyte. Megaspores landing onto the suitable substratum, they will develop into the female gametophyte. Clear with male gametophyte and female gametophyte, right? Examples include what? Selaginella and Salvinia. Clear? Yeah. Next, homosporous species. Gametophyte is monoecious, though they are called as what? Homosporous species. Monoecious means bisexual condition. Dioecious is unisexual condition. Both male gametophyte and female gametophyte are separate. Heterosporous species will develop into dioecious condition, that is unisexual. Few of the pteridophytes wherein sporangia are arranged into small compact cone like structures, which is termed as what? Strobili or cones, where sporophylls will form a distinct compact structures. Okay, sporophylls form distinct compact structures. For example, Selaginella and Equisetum. Okay, Selaginella and Equisetum. Here sporophyll bears what? Sporangia on the sporophylls and sporangiophores, strobili. Clear? Easy? Remember the examples where you can see strobili or cone condition in pteridophytes, Equisetum and Selaginella. Here we go. Spores will germinate into the primary gametophytic structure in pteridophytes. Primary gametophytic structure in bryophytes is protonema. Primary gametophytic structure in pteridophytes is prothallus. So, here prothallus is described as what? Small, inconspicuous, multicellular, free-living photosynthetic thalloid gametophyte. Okay, this is the description of what? Prothallus. Sex organs include multicellular, jacketed, sessile sex organs. Heterosporous condition means they will produce two types of spores, megaspores and microspores. As I already told you, microspores will mature to male gametophyte, megaspores will mature to female gametophyte. So, here this is the life cycle, look into it clearly. So, first we will start with the, so here the main plant body is sporophytic plant body ma. Okay, root, stem and leaf are diploid in condition and leaves are bearing sporangia, diploid spores. Okay, so the main plant body is gametophyte, sporophyte is also there. Sporophyte and gametophyte are independent to each other. Main plant body is gametophytic plant body. Okay, and here they will release what? Sperm cells, haploid sperms and egg. Site of fertilization is archegonia. Post fertilization zygote is formed. zygote matures to diploid sporophytic structure, and here spores are produced from the spore mother cells. What type of meiosis? Sporic meiosis. They will develop again to the gametophyte. So, here what mode of fertilization is happening ma? Zooidogamous oogamy, okay, and zygote formation. Here you can see the heterosporous condition, yes or no? Heterosporous condition, which is an important event for evolution, important step for evolution. Here you can see some events that are for seed formation, but seed formation will not happen over here, okay, because of the absence of integuments. The female gametophyte, which is bearing the zygote, is not having the integuments to protect the zygote and embryo, and embryo is present inside the female gametophyte only for variable periods of time, not completely. So, these two are the major reasons why seed is not formed, but there is a habit which is shown for the seed formation. That is why this is called as what? Precursor to seed habit, which is an important step to the evolution. Okay, heterosporous condition and precursor to seed habit. Where do you see this? In pteridophytes. Clear, right? Yeah, this is important step in evolution. How can you describe the sporophyte as? This is the multicellular, well differentiated dominant phase in the pteridophytes. So, the dominant phase is sporophyte and gametophyte, both are independent to each other. In pteridophytes, what is the dominant phase ma? Sporophyte is the dominant phase. Gametophyte phase will alter with it, both are independent to each other. Clear? Next. Pteridophytes have 4 classes in it. First is Coelopsida, second is Lycopsida, third is Spinopsida, and fourth is Pteridopsida. Coelopsida, best example is what? Coelotum. Lycopsida, Selaginella and Lycopodium. Spinopsida, example is Equisetum. Pteridopsida, Dryopteris, Pteris and Adiantum. Adiantum is called as walking fern. Walking fern. Clear, right? Yeah, these are the classes and examples under pteridophytes. Dryopteris not required for NEET. Yeah, this is not required. Now, economic importance of pteridophytes. Pteridophytes are used as soil binders. These are used in some medicinal purposes, like Dryopteris is used as antihelminthic drug, and Equisetum stems are used in scoring, polishing of metals. These are few economic importance from pteridophytes. Now, we will begin with the questionnaire. Okay, recently asked question in NEET 2025, just answer this. I will give you 2 minutes of time. Sure? Yes. Good. So, first is what? B. Meiosis in spore mother cell, that is sporic meiosis. This is the first event that is happening. Okay. Second is what? Prothallus formation after spores landing into what? Prothallus. 2 is right. And then third is what? Formation of archegonia and antheridia. Okay, prothallus will mature to archegonia and antheridia. Good. And then the transfer of antherozoids to archegonia, 4th event, and after that fertilization will happen. Good. Satisfied. Fine. This question. आराम से think and answer, no hurry. All the time 3 will not happen, Abdul. Think and answer. No? You are close, Raghav, but it is not. Good. Good, good. See, first you see attachment of gametophyte to the substratum. Okay? We will start from here. Attachment of gametophyte to the substratum. Second is what? Release of antherozoids to water. Fine? Zoidogamy, zoogamy. After this, definitely fertilization, fusion of antherozoid with egg. Okay? After this, reductional division will happen. That means the next event like zygote formation, embryo he didn't give. Embryo will mature to sporophyte. That sporophyte will undergo what? Reductional division to produce haploid spores. Okay? And then formation of what? Sporophyte. Yeah, formation of sporophyte. Clear, right? Understood? Next. NEET 2024. But this is on algae. Answer carefully. Just a pause. So here after fusion of antherozoid with egg, zygote formation, embryo will mature to what? Sporophyte. Okay. So this will be fourth event, embryo will mature to sporophyte. In sporophyte meiosis will occur, reductional division happens inside the sporophyte and this will produce what? Haploid spores. Now here the answer will be what? First one. Yeah, right. Okay. Now you see this. Done? Still analyzing the question? क्या हुआ? Say it confidently. Say it confidently, you are right. Good. See. So he asked you to identify the correct set of statements. In fourth, what option is not given? B. Sexual reproduction is by oogamous method only? No. In algae you have isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous. So we look into the other four statements also. Asexual reproduction occurs by biflagellate zoospores. If he is using the term only, then this is also wrong. Then stored food material in the form of carbohydrates, which is either mannitol or laminarin. Correct. Major pigments are carotenoids, xanthophylls A and C, true. And vegetative cells have cellulosic cell wall covered outside by algin. These are the correct set of statements for which algae? Brown algae. Good. Next. Raghav, what happened? Energy load or what? Identify the pair of heterosporous pteridophytes among the following. क्यों हंस रहे? Heterosporous pteridophytes, I will tell you. See, I didn't give you the mnemonic, but you can take the mnemonic of mass for heterosporous condition. To remember the examples of heterosporous pteridophytes, M is Marsilia, A is Azolla, S is Selaginella and one more is Salvinia. Okay. So, Marsilia, Azolla, Selaginella and Salvinia. So, what will be the option? Ninth question.
Cone structures can be on one thallus. Cone structures can be on one thallus. Both the cone structures.
Cone structures, not cone structures, male and female reproductive structures.
Yes.
They can be on the one thallus. That is different. That is what a dioecious condition or that is monoecious condition or bisexual condition, the one which you are saying. Heterosporous condition is releasing two different types of spores. See, inside sporophyte, spore mother cells are undergoing sporic meiosis, no? Spores are produced, haploid spores. Those haploid spores can be either microspores or megaspores. So, that production of two different types of spores is called as heterosporous condition. That is observed in only few pteridophytes like Marsilia, Azolla, Selaginella and Salvinia. Okay, so, what is the answer here? Selaginella and Salvinia. Look at this question. Assertion reason asked in NEET 2023. Very good. So, what is the assertion? The first stage of gametophyte in the life cycle of moss is protonema, true. Okay. Protonema develops directly from the spores during, okay, they are produced, protonema develops directly from the spores. No, so this is wrong, reason is wrong. Protonema develops directly from spores produced from sporophyte. If here it is sporophyte, protonema develops directly from spores produced from sporophyte. Then it is correct. Both A and R are true, but R is not correct explanation to A.
But it signifies that spore is going to convert into.
Once again you read, protonema develops from spores produced from sporophyte.
It develops from the spore, so the sporic phase is ended. Like
Yeah, it is ending, but the first phase of gametophyte in the life cycle of moss is protonema. So, the assertion he is speaking about protonema stage.
Yes, the first stage.
Here how protonema is formed is being explained in reason.
The first stage of gametophyte, it will end when it will start when the spore ends. The
Spore
phase.
matures.
Matures.
When spore matures, protonema is formed. In that case, you can consider this as right explanation. But the most accurate form will be that if protonema is described in the reason, then you can directly opt for option 1. That A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. Here also there is a possibility of looking into A and R are true and R is the correct explanation. Okay, in that case you can go for option 4. Fine. Next. Simple questions from algae. Hydrocolloid carrageen is obtained from Rhodophyceae, only Rhodophyceae. Agar, carrageen, funorii, they are obtained from Rhodophyceae. Algin is from Phaeophyceae. This one. Which of the following is incorrectly matched? Incorrectly matched. First you tell me Eulothrix is what algae? Green algae. Green algae storage material is what? Pyrenoids, not mannitol. Porphyra is red algae. Floridian starch is correct. Volvox green algae, starch is correct. Okay. Ectocarpus is brown algae. Fucoxanthin is the pigment, correct. So, what is incorrect over here? Option 1. Next, on Gima. Yes, only some liverworts. Example? Good. Here. Which of the following algae produce carrageen? Carrageen, red algae. Good. See, same modes asked in 2 different years. Next question. Genera like Selaginella and Salvinia produce 2 kinds of spores. Such plants are called as? That's it. Next, option 3. Which of the following algae contains mannitol as reserve food material? Mannitol, Gracilaria is a red algae. It has Floridian starch. Good. Ectocarpus. Volvox and Neolothrix are green algae. This one. Yeah. So, the last 3 questions, hold on and do with same enthu. Floridian starch has similar structure, similar to Floridian starch has the structure similar to amylopectin and glycogen. Okay. Next, about strobili cones. Just now we have learnt. Observed in what type of pteridophytes? The examples for strobili or cones in pteridophytes include Equisitum and Selaginella. Not what something, Raghav, learn it properly. Last question. Which of the following pairs unicellular algae? Chlorella and spirulina. Okay. So, that is all for today's class. We are done with Bryo and Pterido. In our next class, we will look into Gymnosperms, life cycle of Angiosperms and complete questionnaire set, both PYQs and advanced questionnaire from plant kingdom in our next class. So, in our next class, we will be summing up with what? Plant kingdom. Clear, right? Come prepared with the objectives from NEET World's module. Okay. NEET beginners, Excel sheet, achievers. Till here it should be done from plant kingdom. Okay. I will check your worksheets and then I will start your next class. Fine. That is all for today, ma. Thank you.